This is Bucknell basketball on MyTV WQMY.
Good afternoon, friends, from Soika Pavilion on the campus of Bucknell University. Today, the Bucknell Bison take on the Lehigh Mountain Hawks. So happy you can join us on MyTV for Bison basketball. I'm Adam Marco. Pat Flannery joining me for the fun here today. Coach, we were here just a couple of weeks ago for these exact two teams, and let's see how much has changed. Bucknell now riding a 3-game winning streak. Lehigh has lost a couple in a row at the hands of the Bison. You see first the daily item starting lineup for Lehigh. They are keyed by Nick Lynch. He's their big man in the middle. He's going to be the focal point of this offense. Evan Taylor's come on very strong the last couple of weeks. Curious to see how he plays in the starting lineup today. He wasn't when we were here 2 weeks ago Saturday. For Bucknell, it's the usual 5 we've seen the last couple of games, including John Meeks. Because of his performance in that return 2 weeks ago, he was the Patriot League Player of the Week, including 32 points 2 Sundays ago, a double-double in their second of 3 straight wins against Lehigh. Oh, how things have changed in a couple of weeks, and yet they haven't. We're back here at Soika, Bucknell, Lehigh. It's going to be a fun one this afternoon.
Well, it's great to be here, Adam, and watching ball and seeing ball is just it's just special right now this time of the year because there's so many ups and downs and emotions the kids are going through. I would say the big keys today is Lehigh, who has struggled with Bucknell. They've tried to change some lineups so that they get some more people to play. So they're bringing some of their veteran kids off the floor, trying to get more minutes. So that's something they're going to have to do. A couple things we'll talk about what Lehigh needs to do today and what Bucknell needs to do today. But Bucknell's finding their rhythm. They've got a nice starting lineup. They're getting their pattern, and this should be a good one today.
See our officials for this afternoon's contest. Opening tip is controlled by the Mountain Hawks. Donning the brown tops, Bucknell in the orange jerseys, orange shorts this afternoon. Lynch flared out to the top. He'll kick it off to Marcus Wilson. Right side, Betlow now looking in for Lynch. That's Paul Newman trying to defend, and Lynch with the turnaround jumper.
Well, the big key to Lehigh, they have to stretch the floor, Adam. They're going to have to spread Bucknell out and do a lot of one-on-one. They just can't afford to take quick shots and to give Bucknell a chance to open up the floor in transition.
John Meeks for 3, no. The rebound to Paul Newman. Newman faked the pass underneath to Meeks. Instead, will reset to Andrew Funk, and around we go. Rice to Meeks, off the screen. Shot for 3. Rims out no good. Rebound to Lehigh.
I thought maybe Lehigh would change up a little bit today. They're not playing that hedge high. They didn't do it yesterday, and they're not doing it today. Bucknell's going to get shots in that foul line area all day long. It's a matter if they make them or not.
Here's Betlow. Swing it to Wilson. Now Evan Taylor, back to Lynch. Ben Lee, the 5th man in the starting lineup, the only one who hasn't touched on this possession. Lynch looking to go back inside, pass for Lee, and that's errant. That was somewhere between Taylor and Lee, and instead finds the Bucknell bench.
Yeah, I think that time it went sideways 4 or 5 times. It's what their coaching staff has to have at Lehigh. They have to spread the floor out. They're not going to get them a lot of one-on-ones, so they want to go side to side. And Lynch and Wilson, that's not going to change, Adam, in 4 games. It's the same players.
Here's Funk open for 3, and it's good. Our first dunk in 3 of the game.
Well, the other thing, Bucknell has really shot the ball in 3, and that's one of Lehigh's, one of their bailiwicks is that they just have a little bit of trouble from the perimeter. So they're going to have to drive it and get on the free throw line.
When we were here 2 weeks ago Saturday, that was a big factor for Bucknell. They were 12 of 26 from 3-point range.
Yeah, they can shoot the ball when they're patient and they go. That was a set play for Andrew Funk that comes off that down screen, and great screens by their 2 bigs.
Wilson.
That will be trouble for Lehigh. They have to improvise.
Shot was short. Left side shot for 3, no good. Rebound tipped around. Lee almost had it, but instead his teammate Wilson will corral.
I often wonder, Adam, these back-to-back games, there's so many things to look into. A kid like Wilson, he's probably been playing 35 minutes, and Lynch. Bucknell goes a little bit deeper, so it'll be interesting to see as the day goes along today.
Betlow's shot is short. Rebound to Xander Rice. Rice off to Andrew Funk. He'll drive in, pass to the baseline. John Meeks off the glass and in.
Very unselfish play by Andrew Funk.
5-2 advantage, just about 3 minutes in. Here's Evan Taylor around to Betlow. Draws the double team, left side, Ben Lee. Back around we go. Taylor wasn't in the starting lineup a couple of weeks ago. He's played his way into this role. Here's a jumper from the baseline, no good. Rebound, Bucknell. Rice back the other way. High dribble, no call. Leave it for Funk. Steps, no call. Kick it back outside.
Good decision. See how much they want to get up and down.
Xander Rice up and down for three.
Yeah.
8-2 advantage. Awfully similar to how we started on January 16th. An early advantage for Bucknell.
Yes, but if they get into transition off of shots, the last two were bad shots by Lehigh from good defense, they're going to have some trouble.
Into the lane. Wilson, no. Ball loose on the floor. That is Ellis laying on top of Wilson. Pat on the back. Both men are up. Here's Funk driving in, draws a double team. Turnaround, loses everybody, misses the shot. Ben Lee with the board.
You can see the paces from one end to the other end. Lehigh needs to be methodical. They need to be where they're at. And
Evan Taylor with the shot, no good. Grabs his own rebound, putback, draws the foul. A timeout. He's at the line when we return. 8-2 advantage on MyTV. An 8-2 advantage early on here for Bucknell. Adam Marco and head coach Pat Flannery, the Hall of Famer, joining me today. Coach, players to watch. We mentioned this a little bit already. Nick Lynch, of course, for Lehigh. He's their big scorer. They've got a couple other guys. They need help behind Lynch, and then John Meeks for Bucknell.
well, as you mentioned, the kid Taylor has been playing very well for them, but it's Wilson and Lynch that have to come through for Lehigh. On Bucknell's side, Meeks and Funk have been the real stars, but they got a heck of a freshman in Turner who had a big game for them last time out. They can bring in size. Their depth is really special. So this is a style of play that both teams are really different from each other.
Yesterday, 17 points off the bench for Deuce Turner. He and Andre Screen set up a beautiful alley-oop, about 10 minutes or so left in the first half. See if they break that out again today. I've heard it's something they've been working on. Incorporating it into the game is always a little different.
Well, there's a lot of time to be working on those things, Adam. These kids have been together for an awful long time.
Evan Taylor is at the free throw line, gets the start here today. 7 points on 2 of 9 shooting yesterday with 8 rebounds. It was a Bucknell win sizably in the end, a game that was ultimately pretty close in the first half, back and forth. First shot up and good for Taylor.
Well, it tied at halftime, and Bucknell came out and just put the hammer down and scored and was able to stretch it out. But, again, what's so interesting to me is see how they change up just in 24 hours if they're going to do anything. And this pick and roll is going to be big for Lehigh, how they play, because Lynch just can't get up and hedge the way the bigs for Bucknell does.
Couple of substitutions out of the timeout. Shot no good. Rebound, Newman can't get it, but it's tipped out. Deuce Turner, the freshman from Philadelphia, is in, and Miles Latimer, the transfer from Stony Brook, also onto the floor to go along with Meeks, Funk, and Paul Newman. Inbound to Meeks. Guarded by Wilson. That is Jamiro Wilson. He's in for Lehigh out of the break. Meeks shot no. Newman the rebound. Turnaround left-handed hook is good.
Big. They're real happy. Bucknell benching everybody for Newman. He's a kid who works hard for him. They really start him because he gives them a presence in there. So for them to get a bucket, that's really big.
And Newman was held not only scoreless but shotless yesterday, plagued with 4 fouls. Shots no good. Rebound, Andrew Funk. Leave it off for Meeks. Fakes the shot, picked up defensively by Wilson. Now Turner. One dribble, Latimer around to Andrew Funk. Cuts through a nice double team, or near double team, as Meeks was drawing the defender in and then hits the foul away.
They're doing a nice job when they push it. They're pushing it with numbers, taking care of the basketball. And when it's not there, they're switching side to side. So far, they've gotten good shots.
Jalen Sinclair, left corner, guarded by Turner. Ball tipped, but back out to the top to Reed Fenton. Wilson drives in, pivots around. Outside, that would have been a long three. Now dump off, great no look behind the back and wide open for the three-pointer, Jamiro Wilson.
Good patience by Lehigh. Little half-court possession. It's what they're going to have to do.
Tremendous pass to go with it for
Wow.
Jalen Sinclair. Shot no good. Taylor the board. Jamiro Wilson, bounce pass, looking for Evan Taylor off the glass. No contact, basket is good.
Little penetration is certainly what they're looking for.
12-9.
Here's that pick and roll.
Shot for three, in and out.
Yeah, they're going to have that all night if they're not going to hedge that.
That's Evan Taylor's third rebound in the opening 7 minutes. Taylor to Sinclair. Off to Fenton. Drives baseline, pass down the line. And Taylor got a heel on the sideline. Turnover gives it back to Bucknell. They'll make a couple of changes as Andre Screen comes in.
Well,
Jake Vanderheiden coming in.
We'll see how the depth works out here, Adam. Bucknell's has played yesterday, played 11 or 12, players at times, and it can wear you down. There's Parolin for Lehigh, 35. He had a big game yesterday on the boards. It'll be interesting to see how he plays today. He did a nice job up here last time as well.
Just saw head coach Nathan Davis. Good little run here. Granted, it's against Lehigh, all against the Mountain Hawks, but 3 straight wins after 4 straight losses to open the season. Here's Latimer up and good for 2.
That lane is going to be there. They just, again, it'll be last time I say it, but watching it as a coach, they're just able to turn that corner and get into the lane on them anytime they want to.
Wilson, guarded by Vanderheiden, take it to the hoop, and a little hand check foul. We saw Nathan Davis. We do have a change this weekend on Bucknell's bench as Dr. Brett Reed is out this weekend due to COVID protocols. So Lehigh is being helmed today by assistant coach Harry Mora through yesterday and today's games, and certainly hoping everything is okay when it's all said and done for Coach Reed.
Well, it's the reason you're all together. Coach knows what they're doing, and I know in the past we've had times. Matter of fact, Coach Davis did it a few times when I was in the hot seat, where he comes in and the guys get excited. Sometimes the kids play, even harder. They know you're maybe a man down, and that's just human nature to want to play harder and better. And Lehigh, in that case, I think they did that yesterday. It looks like they've come to play today.
14-11. Inlet to screen, draws his defender in the air, loses the ball. Latimer hustles for it. Back around the perimeter it goes. Turner for 3. No good.
Great hustle by Lattimore. Good look by Turner.
Latimer with the steal, but gives it right back to Lehigh. Fake the shot, drive in, hand to the floor to keep the balance, and a little floater up and good. Sinclair with the bucket. Cuts it down to a 1-point game. And an offensive foul called against Bucknell.
He really has a nose for the ball, Turner does, Adam, and what they did right now, St. Clair got enough of that yesterday where he took him to the basket and cleaned him. I think him stepping in there today sends a little bit of a message that we're not going to let you go through us today. So there are little adjustments that you see both teams making, playing back-to-back. Never heard of 4 games in a row against the same team, though. That you might have to go back to 1930s.
That's a baseball schedule.
That sure is. 2 doubleheaders, right?
Something along those lines. Wilson with the spin into the paint, loses the ball, stripped away by Ellis. Screen picks it up off the floor, and it's knocked out of his hands. 14-13, Lehigh back in this one. You're watching Bucknell University basketball from Learfield IMG College on MyTV.
You're watching Bucknell Bison basketball on MyTV WQMY.
A 1-point advantage for the Bison coming out of this timeout. Geisinger is proud to be the official sports medicine and orthopedics provider of the Bucknell Bison. It's part of our commitment to more than 40 university and high school athletic programs across Pennsylvania in the communities we serve. Schedule an appointment at geisinger.org/sports. 14-13. Bucknell in front, had an 8-2 lead. Lehigh has chipped away as Bucknell has come up a little bit cold as of late. It will be Bison basketball out of this break. Early scoring action, 5 points for Andrew Funk to lead Bucknell. Jameer Wilson with 5.
This will be a set look coming out of here for probably for Meeks. They'll do something, get him going, a little reversal.
Latimer.
Step out.
Off to Turner. They're looking for screen inside. There's Ellis.
It's interesting. They're switching their guards now.
7 to shoot for Bucknell. It's Meeks into the paint. Left-hand jump, up and good.
Can't let him turn right shoulder. He'll score all time in there. He's really crafty. He can score a lot of different ways. That's what makes him so effective. 3 inside out. Really knows for the basket.
Dominic Parolin, number 35 on the floor for the first time for Lehigh. That's about the only player on the court right now that can match up even nearly size for size with Andre Screen, and it's still not that close. Screen at 7 foot, Parolin at 6'8". Turner into the lane, has his shot rejected. Taylor puts it down into the hands of Wilson. Wilson scoops it off the right side.
Strong move.
Jameer Wilson now with 5. Take that, 7 for Jameer Wilson. Shot for 3, buried from the left side. Triple for Walter Ellis, 19-15 Bison. Sinclair goes crossover, tried to get around that screen, finds a shot just behind the foul line, up and good. 4 points now for Jalen Sinclair.
Ellis hit a few yesterday, got himself going. You can just see the confidence.
Latimer's pass, looking for screen, tipped out. A couple of substitutions here. Screen to the bench. Paul Newman is back in. Andrew Funk. Xander Rice back onto the floor. See the shot here for 3.
Yeah, stand still, shoot up. Ellis just knock it out. He's a big confidence kid once he gets going.
16 points yesterday, including 12 points from 3-point range. He was 4 of 8 from behind the arc. Foul called against Dominic Parolin, his first. Sends Xander Rice to the free throw line. Rice just over 10 points per game this season from the stripe, however. 78%. First shot is good.
Four people on the floor, Adam, almost at any one time for Bucknell that can shoot the 3. That's such a big advantage in stretching the floor. And they all are confident in shooting the basketball. That's a tough guard.
Rice at the line. Hit them all.
That means he must have really hit them. Usually you get 2 if you brushed them, and 1 if you didn't hit them, and 3 if you really drilled them.
Fenton, use it for Sinclair. Crossover draws the double team, guarded by Newman, and Newman must have got a fingertip to fingertip foul. Very little bit of contact there.
Yeah. This is a Sunday afternoon veteran crew, I'll tell you. I don't know if I've seen a Lindsay up here in a long time, and Wally Ratucky, they got a good veteran group here today.
Sinclair's first free throw is good. Jalen Sinclair is a freshman from Manhattan. He's the team MVP, Player of the Year finalist at Suffield Academy in Connecticut. 22-19, under 10 to go here in the opening half.
Well, they won a couple games coming into this weekend with Bucknell. They had won 2 in a row, so they have a little hop to them.
Last weekend, Bucknell did not play. Their games postponed due to COVID.
Yeah.
Lehigh, however, swept Holy Cross. 24-19.
Be interesting to see if they double that here coming, because Meek's just going to have his way inside there with anybody they have on the floor right now.
Ball tipped. Down the baseline, corralled by Sinclair. Shot for 3, no good. Rebound Newman. And I should clarify, it was postponed because of COVID protocols and the testing results. And we discussed this when we were here a couple of weeks ago. These kids, these student athletes are tested consistently, the rigors that they have to go through to be able to compete, even just 2 games a week, back-to-back games on the weekend. It's extremely difficult, and they are under immense scrutiny. The whole building is, all of Soika is, to make sure that this is the safest possible environment.
And Adam, that's happening everywhere in the country. Every program has different challenges of where you're at and what you're doing. They've done a great job here of the protocol and being able to play. But all it takes is one out of box, somebody somewhere, and some teams are being shut down for weeks.
A call here. Reed Fenton looked as if he got hit, scratched somewhere across the face. He backed off defensively, as you can see, and then Meeks going up for the ball.
Just wanted it more, really stayed with it.
Fenton will come off the floor. And Meeks will head to the free throw line to try to complete the 3-point play.
When they're switching guard to guard other than the big, they're ending up with smaller people on John Meeks inside there. And unless they double team that, he's going to have his way all day long.
Meeks now 9 points, 27-19 Bison. Now yesterday these teams played back and forth. It was 43 apiece at the half. A 7-0 run by Lehigh to take the advantage initially out of that halftime break, but Bucknell countered with a 21-3 run. Here's Lynch inside, shots no good, fights for the rebound, fighting Newman, and throws an elbow up, backs Newman away, and Paul's gonna get the foul, not Lynch.
Yeah, same thing happened at the other end. They bumped him off of there, got him off of there. You could go both ways, and they let him play at the other end. They let him play at this end until the second foul. Every time that second one, they're going to call. First one they may let play, but that was the second one.
Lynch at the line, 71% this season. First shot is no good.
Be interesting to see where these kids' legs are in the second day of back-to-back. That's a tough thing. I mean, everybody will say, yeah, they're young men, but it really, when you're playing a lot of minutes, it can really wear you down, and where it affects you the most is in your shooting and your defense.
At the second shot, 3 points for Nick Lynch so far. 1 of 3 shooting for their leader. Rice with the crossover into the paint, flips it up off the glass and in. Good first half from Xander Rice.
Really nice. Recognized that Parolin had him, their big guy. They opened up the floor for him. Bucknell doing a good job of recognizing who's playing him on defense.
Parolin gets the pass on the baseline, little fall away, rebound tipped around, screen, just reaches up over everyone. Here's Rice. Little head fake, dump off to Meeks, off the glass, no contact call. That foul against Newman was his second. It forces him back to the bench, and it brings Andre Screen back in. We've got a foul on the floor. John Meeks at the line when we return. Bison with a 9-point lead. Bucknell basketball from Learfield IMG College on MyTV.
You're watching Bucknell Bison basketball on MyTV WQMY.
No.
There's a reason why you come here. With every visit, we embrace our customers like family. We're the name you've trusted for over 33 years. Fairfield isn't just any dealership, we're the area's most trusted dealership. Fairfield, for fantastic deals, you're going to love us. 29-20, 7:28 remaining here in the opening half. John Meeks at the line. You take a look at the Patriot League standings thus far. They've divided it into divisions this year to minimize travel. Bucknell has made a nice run in the last couple of weeks within the division, still chasing after Lafayette. Lehigh trailing within the Central right now. That Southern Division, there's some games to be made up, and Navy has just had an outstanding run. They're 11-2 overall this season and 8-1 within Patriot League and division play.
Well, it looks like it's going to be the top 2 from each of these divisions, and depending on how many games you get in, there's a few not being played this weekend because of COVID. Navy's been very fortunate to be able to get their games. Seems like Loyola and American are maybe not getting as many games in, but it's starting to show, and this is certainly going to give you a body of work to see who the top 6 teams are in the league.
Second shot, good. Meeks hits them both. First score into double figures from either side. He's got 11. Henley Guarded by Meeks, off to Parolin. Leave it for Betlow. Betlow drives in, swatted by Screen. Easily knocked out of play by Andre Screen.
Yeah, they're trying to run dribble handoff into the lane, and you're just not getting it over to the big boy. He's quick, he's agile, and he has a good nose for that. You're going to have to dump that off.
Evan Taylor to inbound. The women's programs are playing right now as well. They're down at Lehigh. First half action, 20-15 in favor of the Mountain Hawks. The Bucknell women's team is 7-0, undefeated this far into the season since, I believe, the first time since like 1986. It's been a long run since they put together a 7-0 start to a season. And they were down the last time they played at Lehigh, that Saturday afternoon, January 16th, ultimately coming back to win it in the fourth quarter with a monster run.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting league, and they're going through the same things the women are as the men. One interesting note in the league is Dave McGarrity, a longtime coach of Marist, I thought was quite interesting. I was telling my sons, he's the head coach of Army. I saw he just announced his retirement. The other night, he played against Holy Cross, and Holy Cross coaches his daughter. So I can't imagine a father and his daughter going at it with each other in the league, actually in the league.
That'd be a fun Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Lehigh's gone to a zone now. They're just still, yeah, they're gonna get a lot of good shots if they're patient with this.
Here's Meeks from the corner for three, and that's good. Duncan three, the fourth of the game for the Bison. They're 4 of 10 from three-point range. 14-point advantage, 34-20. It's John Meeks first of the day. Taylor to Ben Lee.
Just struggles scoring.
Here's Betlow for three. In and out, no. Rebound to Latimer. Andrew Funk in the corner, nails the three from the left side, and that's going to force a timeout from assistant head coach Harry Mora. 37-20 with 6 minutes, 7 seconds to go here in the first half of play. Back-to-back threes on consecutive trips down the floor for Bucknell, expanding this advantage.
Yeah, that's just confidence. They're feeling it. They're getting up the floor, really pushing it well. They're finding the open man, and as we've talked before, they can really shoot the basketball. In the half court, Lehigh's working so hard to get the shot. When they don't score and it turns into transition, they're really opening up the floor, so they're going to have to grind.
You see 4 opening losses to start this season, back-to-back against Navy and Lafayette. 3 straight wins against Lehigh. Now the activity last weekend against Colgate was postponed because of COVID protocols and concerns. No word as of yet as to how the schedule can be adapted to make those games up. In a world where you're just trying to make it through one day to the next, we'll see where it plays out for each of these programs along the Patriot League way.
Thank goodness for cell phones. I think you're on speed dial every day, that something's changing.
Loose ball, Turner fighting for it, flips it up. And to the hoop, no. Back the other way will come Lehigh. That's Malachi Rhodes picking up the ball, his first minutes of the day. Turner knocked it away from Taylor. Sinclair. Off to Wilson. Pivots, loses the ball, maybe intentionally to Parolin. Off to Wilson, no. Rebound, a fight for it. And Screen comes away with it. It'll be Bucknell basketball. Call the foul against Lehigh. Parolin gets his second foul. The team's 5th. 5.5 to go. Turner will take his time bringing it down the floor. Juice Turner has his pass tipped in the air.
Yeah.
And he'll pick up a foul trying to get it back.
Okay, time to put your whistle in your pocket. Yeah. That was a pass.
Just
a little contact. Just a little.
Trying to get to the ball. Size mismatch favoring Parolin there at 6'8", so yeah. That's how Turner gets a slap on the wrist. And he'll come out after that foul.
Making the right play, just wasn't completed, but he's looking for the right guy.
Malachi Rhodes on the floor, just his 3rd game this season.
Oh.
Shot swatted, either Latimer or screen. They're both there. And the Bison come back the other way. Latimer gets a little contact from Sinclair. Here's Rice. Off to Ellis, inlet for screen. Latimer, quick pass, Rice. Moves it all the way around, inside Rhodes, looking for screen. 10 to shoot for Bucknell.
Oh,
Screen
wow.
one-on-one to the hoop. Draws his defender in the air, up and down. And they'll get a jump ball. See where the possession arrow goes. Stays in favor of Bucknell. What do you need there? Do you need more strength, more confidence in that shot to take it up?
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of strength and keeping the ball a little bit higher. In this case, though, this end of it, boy, you got to love that. You got to love that effort of going after the shot. It
was screen with the block on the other end of the floor. Shot for three, a little short. In the air off the rim, rebound to Jamiro Wilson. Sinclair to Wilson, has an open look for a three. Laser beam is good.
That's about the first easy shot Lehigh's had at him. They've done a good job of getting back and playing somebody. They left him open.
Mountain Hawks coming up with the steal. 2-on-1 break. Sinclair over top of Latimer. Shot's no good. Rebound loose. Latimer will come away with it. Off to Ellis. Ellis, check that. Rice to Ellis for three. Duncan three from the corner. Sixth three-pointer of the game for Bucknell. Follow away is good here.
I think they recognize they're not going to get the ball all the way to the hole. Good unselfish play.
Jacob Almaladoum with the basket. Ball tipped out of Screen's hands. Left corner, Sinclair is good. Bison going with a couple of guys that they don't get a whole lot of minutes out of.
Well, and you want to get them. You want to get them runs. Everybody, practices, wants to play. They're here for a reason, and they're giving them a lot of time.
Sinclair fighting for the ball. It's loose, and Jamiro Wilson steps on the sideline. Thinks he's pushed out. Timeout on the floor. Some starters will come back in. Meeks and Funk out of this break. Bison have a 40-28 lead. Back in a moment on MyTV.
That kid, Adam.
Geisinger is proud to be the official sports medicine and orthopedics provider of the Bucknell Bison. It's part of our commitment to more than 40 university and high school athletic programs across Pennsylvania in the communities we serve. Schedule your appointment at geisinger.org/sports. 40-28, the advantage in favor of Bucknell. We have a chance now to take a look at some three-pointers from Bucknell.
Boom, boom, boom.
And
let it rain.
The University Bucknell Bison are partnering with the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. For every one of these three-pointers hit here today, 3 pounds of coffee to be donated by Duncan, our great friends at Duncan, to the Central PA Food Bank. By my quick count, 6 of 13 for Bucknell so far. Remember, the last time we were on, they hit 12, so we're halfway there and not quite done with the first half yet. 6 of 13, a sizable amount of coffee. We're at 18 pounds right now. A good start heading to the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, thanks to our friends at Duncan.
Thank you.
Couple of substitutions coming out of this break. It'll be Screen, Funk, Ellis, Meeks, and Rice for Bucknell.
And Lehigh's really going small.
Amaladoun, Sinclair, Fenton, Wilson, and Wilson for the Mountain Hawks. And we've got a conversation over at the monitors on the far side of the floor as the officials looking at something along, whether it was Wilson when he was pushed out, did he step on the baseline?
I really think, Adam, they're looking at Lattimore really brings a lot to Bucknell, his toughness. He got it blocked and he went back at it, and I think they're looking at him pushing the Lehigh kid, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Right here, here's the replay on the board up. Oh, that was up on the board up there. But he pushed him as he was going out of bounds, 20. So I don't know what they're going to call here. It should be play on. Let's go. These things, if there's anything watching them, they take the other night, it was about a 10-minute wait. I'm not sure how you can teach that for kids to stand around for 10 minutes, but some of these take way too long.
believe we've got a winter storm warning. You're going this way. I'm going that. Just kidding.
Should we tell them?
Hopefully, wherever you're taking this in, wherever you're watching it today,
yep.
things are safe,
You're
sound.
enjoying us, right? Little Sunday afternoon.
Now the officials will get our two coaches together for a conversation.
We're going to get them together.
Explaining to Coach Davis first, and again, Harry Mora is at the helm today for the Mountain Hawks, with Dr. Brett Reed unavailable this weekend due to COVID protocols.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
The only one animated here right now are the officials.
It's the official, and he has a mask on, so you can't tell what's going on. I think they're going to. Lehigh's going to shoot.
Getting quite the explanation here.
I'm sure that's what it is.
We're headed.
They're going to call an intentional on Lattimore and shoot that. And I think Lehigh gets the ball then because they had it anyway out of bounds. So, this could be a big one going into half, and that they could have a 4 or 5 point swing.
Latimer called for a foul, and Jameer Wilson to the line. Check that, Marcus Wilson to the line. Marcus Wilson, 17 points per game this year, 63% from the free throw line. Gets his
Now
first
be Lehigh's
couple
ball.
points. That 17-point lead, it's down to 10. Remember 2 weeks ago, we had a 15-point advantage in the second half, and it was down to a 3-point game,
right.
Ultimately a 75-70 final.
Yeah, I was talking about what they were doing, and they kept chipping away.
Sinclair loses the ball, but it's tipped out by Bucknell. It will stay with the Mountain Hawks. Just a couple of seconds gone off the shot clock, 19 to shoot, 3:10 left here in the half.
I think the other thing that happens, Adam, with no crowd and all that, there's sometimes it just takes so long to get this stuff. I think if there's a little more pressure on you when there's people and there's a lot of crowd, a lot of emotion. It's another byproduct of this kind of an environment.
Amaladoon pivots around and will be called for the travel. Trying to get around Andre's screen.
Yeah,
he does, but he takes the extra step to do so.
Doesn't he, for a young kid? He has good footwork. He stays down. He's big. He uses his length. As he starts to fill out, he's going to be another one of those real good big men Bucknell has had over the years. The Nana Fallons of the world.
But never a 7-footer.
Yeah.
Not officially, at least.
Yeah, he's big, but.
Screen in, we'll try to throw it down. Amaladoon gets a piece, and that mismatch again. Andre Screen listed at 7 foot 230. Jacob Amaladoon at 6'6".
So we're probably 6'5", or probably 6'10", something like that. But what everybody's doing with Screen now, the minute he puts it on the floor, they're trying to back tap him. It's the only way you can play him. If he gets a basket in there, you can't do that with Meeks. He's too crafty. But Bucknell's getting a lot of isolation in the post. He will end up finishing that eventually.
Here's Andrew Funk. Just off the mark. The rebound to Jameer Wilson. Amaladoon, left corner, Fenton. Now Marcus Wilson. Back to Fenton for 3. Shot's no good. Rebound. There were only 3 Bucknell players there and 1 for Lehigh. Screen gets the board. Has a look at the 3.
Ooh.
Instead, we'll step to the foul line. The jumper's no good. Barely a jumper at that.
Yeah.
Might have gotten to the tippy toes at most.
Little high-low. They're going to play off him, but they have to play Meek, so.
Wilson through the paint. Now Amaladoon, baseline, guarded by Screen. Bounces off of Screen and puts it over top of the big man.
Used his body to get a little space in there, knocked him back. He's a little stronger right now.
40-32. 90 seconds to go here in the first half. Andrew Funk, shoulder fake left, drives to the right, gets that up off the rim with a little touch and in. It's a relatively quiet first half for Andrew Funk.
Yeah, he's really good when he gets going to his right to that basket. He always finds a way to score. They gave up a lot of room there.
Fenton for 3, rims out no good. I say relatively quiet, and then I look at the stats. He's got 10 points.
Oh, yeah.
That is a quiet 10.
Yes.
Here's Meeks looking for screen, just throws it up, and screen is there to throw it down.
Get it up around that rim somewhere. Just can't handle that size.
50 seconds to go in the half, 44-32. The lead as much as 17, 37-20 for Bucknell. Wilson drives in, has the ball stripped away, out of bounds, will stay with the Mountain Hawks. 14 to shoot. See the replay here. Not quite an alley-oop from John Meeks. It wasn't Turner to screen.
They all count. You just got a great job of the young kid, though, gathering himself, not trying to do something he couldn't do.
Meeks doing his best to replicate the role of the freshman from yesterday. Shot for three, no good. The rebound screen had it, rolled right down his knee and out of play. Wilson will go back to Lehigh.
With 2 points for Wilson in his first half, Lehigh is going to struggle if he's not scoring. But again, I said it earlier, you know, these back-to-backs, he just looks a little tired. He plays a lot of minutes.
2 points for Marcus Wilson, 10 points off the bench for Jameer Wilson, and Nick Lynch with 3 points and 2 fouls. Shot for three is good. Big basket for Jameer Wilson. Timeout on the floor taken by Bucknell with 20 seconds to go. An opportunity to set up that final play here of the first half, 44-35.
Yeah, and this is big. You know, it's a 9-point ball game. You mentioned as much as 17. Bucknell's going to run something here in the 20 to get the last shot, so it could end up being 11 or 12. A big momentum going into the locker room, and Lehigh gets a stop. They'll have a little momentum going in. So these are real important plays in the course of a ball game.
Domino's timeout. You look around the arena. Mentioned not playing with any fans here today. You have the opportunity to be in the stands, however, with one of these fan cutouts. Be as excited as that guy. All you have to do to support the program and keep the home court advantage that Soika is as best we can. Purchase your own personalized fan cutout. They're $50. All proceeds go to the men's and women's basketball programs. Visit BucknellBison.com for more information on how you can be one of the fan cutouts here at Soika Pavilion. 10 seconds to go. Rice to Funk, drives baseline. Up, under, off the glass and in with 4 seconds left. No one there for Lehigh to get the inbound, and time will expire. There was 4 seconds when the basket was hit, and we head to the locker room at the half.
Yeah, they were going to try to shoot the three. They played the perimeter, and Funk really made a veteran play. That opened up, and he took it to the basket. So good finish by Bucknell.
Bison head into the locker room with an 11-point lead. Bucknell in front from Learfield IMG College on MyTV.
You're watching Bucknell Bison basketball on MyTV WQMY.
We are at halftime of today's basketball game. I'm Bob Ide from WQMY Sports. We're going to talk Bucknell wrestling now with head coach Dan Wernsberger. And Dan, what was the biggest challenge getting back on the mats this year?
Oh, man, biggest challenge. There was a lot of challenges that we faced. We're just happy and grateful that we're back on, just getting everyone, you know, healthy and just back in the training center and the practice arena together is a big accomplishment for us. So we're just all grateful, no matter what we have to go through or the protocols that take place. We're just pumped up that we have this opportunity.
Now it looks like it's a shortened type of schedule. So, you know, who are you wrestling? How's the schedule working out this year?
Sure. Yeah, it's a shortened season, which becomes a little bit tricky to manage and kind of figure out what's the best way to move forward with your individuals and your team. But it's just weekend competition, no weekdays at all, which takes out Fridays as well. And no back-to-back matches on Saturday or Sunday. So what we've been trying to do with the shortened season, ours ends up being 6 weeks where we can get matches in against other teams or 2 teams where we can do tri-meets on the same day. And a format that we've been looking at is just doing a lot of this jamboree style type of event or round-robin type of event where guys can get multiple matches, right? The more matches you get, the more experience you gain, the quicker your development takes place, and especially when you have some young guys on your team. So you want them to get as many matches as possible. And even in the dual meet format where there is a dual meet taking place, there's extra matches that are either going on next to or at the conclusion of that dual meet. So it's an opportunity, and it's really exciting actually when you're traveling with more guys and you have some guys that normally wouldn't see dual meet action, and they're out there in that type of environment and situation where your teammates are yelling for you and pulling for you and encouraging you. So it's been a good experience all the way around. I hope they keep it going as we progress through the years.
And obviously that schedule does include the championships, right? The EIWA and possible NCAAs.
Yeah, we have the 6-week season of these dual meets or round robin style. Then there will be a week in between before our EIWA championships, which will be the last Friday in February 26th. And then there's a 3-week window in there between our EIWAs and the NCAA tournament in the 3rd week in March.
Who are some of the guys who are performing well, back on the mat this year?
Sure. I mean, I think, you look at our lineup down below and through the middle, we're very strong and experienced. Up top, a little bit less experienced, but we got some good, talented guys. You got a guy like Darren Miller. He's a sophomore, true sophomore at 133 pounds. And he had a big win over a ranked guy from the University of Oklahoma a week ago. And now Darren is 5-0 on the season, undefeated, and ranked 13th in the country. So he's doing extremely well. And then obviously we got our main guy, our leader, our captain is Zach Hartman, who's a junior for us. And he's undefeated, 6-0, I believe, is his record. He's currently ranked 7th in the country with the latest rankings that have come out. So those two guys are off to great starts. We got a couple other guys that are doing extremely well. Our 125-pounder Brandon Seidman is competing very well. 174, Vinny Andriano is a sophomore for us. He's undefeated on the young year. And we're getting some guys back that have been dinged up a little bit, around that Christmas break time. And as we get into January, we got a couple guys that are back in the lineup that, as they're getting their timing back, they're going to play a big part for us.
I've had the fortune to visit your wrestling room. Boy, it's impressive. Just talk to me about, what you guys have done down there at Bucknell through your tenure.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, the Graham Wrestling Training Center, it's second to none. I would put it in there as a top 5 wrestling training center in the country. I mean, we have our benefactor, Mr. Graham, to thank for that. His just commitment to Bucknell University and the Bucknell wrestling program in particular has been amazing. So, I mean, just starting with bringing the wrestling program back, the endowment that we're fortunate to have, where, a lot of programs don't have that kind of support or kind of endowment like we do have. Thankful for Bill Graham. And then moving into, hey, all right, now we're a handful of years into this reinstated program. What's the next step? And just through the administration, here at the university and through our benefactor, Bill Graham, hey, this wrestling piece came available, or wrestling facility piece. And it's wonderful. I mean, these guys are really fortunate to be able to have a place like this to come and train and study and just do everything they need to do that's in the same vicinity to prepare to be the best they can be, to be able to problem solve academically, to be able to problem solve athletically like you're called to do as a Division I athlete, especially at a place like Bucknell University.
Bucknell University wrestling coach Dan Wernsberger joining us. And thank you, Coach. And when we come back, we'll have more basketball here on MyTV, WQMY.
11-point lead at the break, 46-35 in favor of Bucknell, trying to take their 4th consecutive game, all of which would come at the hands of Lehigh. Coach, you look back at the first half. We're going to look at some of the highlights in a moment, but our 2 players from the outset that really wanted to focus on, John Meeks and Nick Lynch. One of them has lived up to that billing so far. One of them struggled with foul trouble, so we didn't really see a lot of Nick Lynch. But Meeks, however, he's been as advertised, as good as he has been the last couple of weeks.
He's a young man that can score so many ways. That's what's so hard. You put a big on him, he take you outside and shoot the 3. You put a guard on him, he takes you down low and he scores, and he's a good passer. So he's a nightmare for Lehigh. They just don't have nobody that can match up with him, and he's had his way.
Nick Lynch just 3 points, but a couple of fouls, really limiting his activity. The offense has come from the bench in the form of Jamiro Wilson and Jalen Sinclair. That's where 22 of 35 points have come for Lehigh. In the highlights, it's a lot of 3-pointers for Bucknell, and we've known that for a while now. We know how this team will approach the game of basketball. 6 3-pointers in the first half. We're still at 18 pounds of coffee for our friends from Duncan to the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. But the 3 points have been spread around. Yesterday, for example, it was a lot of Walter Ellis. 4 out of 8 from 3-point range, 12 points of his 16 from behind the arc. But this has really been a balanced approach for Bucknell. You've got a lot of shooters out there, and they're taking advantage.
Well, there's not a lot of forced plays. There's not a lot of forced shots by Bucknell right now. They're moving the basketball. On the other end in Lehigh, they really struggle to score the basketball. And if Marcus Wilson's going to have 2.5 points, they're really going to struggle. So look for him to come out and for them to try to get him going to try to get back in this game.
Mentioned it was a barrage of three-pointers in that opening half of play, and you'll see on our halftime highlights, Bucknell was hitting them from all around the floor. In here is also a skosh of Andre screen when it comes down to a big block on the defensive end, and that dunk that really epitomized the first half for Bucknell on the inside. Great job shooting the basketball. You'll see screen here, swat this one from Betlow away.
Yeah, the number of people that are scoring and the way they're scoring, as your highlights show it's from different areas of the floor by different people. Funk and Meeks and Ellis are shooting the basketball. They just have a real balanced attack right now, and they're going to the right people.
Andre screen caps off that first half with the dunk. 46-35. Take another break. Back in a moment on MyTV. (46-35). Bucknell in front, looking for its fourth consecutive victory. This year, Bucknell is partnering with Dunkin' to do good in our community. For every Bucknell three-pointer made here on the home court today, Dunkin' donating 3 pounds of coffee to the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. 6 out of 13 in the opening half of play. We're at 18 pounds of coffee thus far this afternoon with 20 minutes of basketball, three-pointers, and coffee left to go. Some of the first half stats. Bucknell, an outstanding job shooting the basketball. 50% from the floor, 46% from three-point range, out-rebounding Lehigh. And that being said, when we were here 2 weeks ago, Lehigh shot 25% in the opening half. This isn't necessarily a bad first half offensively for the Mountain Hawks. Bucknell has just been that much better in the opening 20 minutes.
One of the keys here, Adam, coming from the other games is Bucknell must have really concentrated. They haven't given up as many offensive rebounds, Lehigh, and that's one of the way that they stay around with people with their aggressiveness and their rebounding.
Bison have the 11-point lead as we open up this second half of play.
You know, there's an old adage, you know, basketball is a game of takers. You have to take shots in order to score. If you're not going to be makers, then you better be a good rebounding team to be able to get some extra shots in order to up that percentage. So you got to like 39% from the 25 we saw last time.
And consistently over this season, that actually hasn't been that much of a strong suit for Bucknell. They've been getting out rebounded 39 to 34 on average. Lehigh is more even, right around 34 given up, 34 pulled in each game. But the Bison have done a really nice job here this afternoon, limiting those opportunities as much as possible. And Lehigh has done, for their part, I think the best they can do. They're being out-rebounded by 5 at the moment.
Yeah, it really looked like a concentrated effort. They changed their lineup here this half. Inserting those 4, they did a nice job at the beginning of the game, and now with Lynch.
Opening basket of the second half, Jameer Wilson. Now a game-high 15 points for Wilson.
Well, they're going to play Wilson on Meeks, it looks like. They come out with a concentrated effort. They're going to have...
John Meeks carries it into the lane, rolls it up off the glass and in to answer.
Surprised how many times John Meeks can go left and can just put the ball on the floor and go that way.
Inlet to Wilson, little alley-oop with the jump shot to follow, no. Rebound comes into the hands of Bucknell. Here's Andrew Funk on the run for 3, got it! Our first Dunkin' three-pointer of the second half goes to Andrew Funk, who had the very first of the game as well.
Rhythm jumper, really smooth, nice stroke, right in rhythm.
Here's Nick Lynch off to Evan Taylor. Taylor drives, kicks it in the left corner. The shot is no good. Rebound tipped around. Lynch is there for the putback, but no. Wilson finds it. Will give new life. Thought about resetting the offense and then nearly faked Walter Ellis out. Ellis stuck with it, tips the ball out of play, and it will stay with Lehigh.
Yeah, coach won't be happy with that on that offensive rebound.
It was close enough. Could have been called a foul without much of a concern either. Instead, no foul call, just the basketball in the hands of the Mountain Hawks. Wilson with the crossover. It's Marcus Wilson in the right corner. Jameer for 3, no. And Ellis the rebound. Up the floor, Xander Rice to John Meeks. Ball stolen away. Good steal by Jalen Sinclair. Pass to Taylor, and will be called for the travel.
Foul.
Ooh. Correction. Called a foul here against Bucknell. Xander Rice to pick up the foul.
I think you're right, he traveled, but I think he was bumped before he walked with it.
First foul called against Rice. 51-37. 18-17 to go. Ball loose on the floor. Tipped around. And Rice will pick it up. Leave it off for Funk. Funk for three. Wants another? No. Will track down his own rebound, but save it right to Lehigh. John Meeks was going to go after it, but couldn't plant that foot to get moving. 51-37. Wilson to Wilson. Leave it off the hands. Lynch can't corral. Meeks does. One-on-one with Taylor. Scoops it right around Taylor and takes it to the basket.
Bucknell has to be very pleased with the defense that Ellis is playing on Wilson. He's done a good job tonight on Wilson. He's really made him work for everything, and that's really disrupted Lehigh a lot.
Marcus Wilson gets Ellis into the air.
And there he is again.
Here's Lynch. Rolls it over top of the rim. Off day shooting for Nick Lynch.
Yeah, he's got to make them.
Now 1 for 5 today. Pass to the corner. 12 to shoot, and tight-roping the baseline, no foul call. Jameer Wilson thought he was pushed out by Andrew Funk. Doesn't get that. Instead, it's a turnover to give it to Bucknell. Reed Fenton onto the floor. Marcus Wilson back to the bench. 53-37. Ellis to Newman. Hands it off to Rice. Now Andrew Funk. Looked at the three, will drive in. Sees Nick Lynch, kick it back outside. Quick pass into Newman, working his way around Lynch. Takes it up under and off the left side, good for two.
Feed the folks that are doing the work in there. That's a big bucket for Newman. Big bucket for Bucknell. They really want to get him involved. That's how they're going to get better.
11-point lead has expanded to 18 as the rim has gone cold for Lehigh. Rebound to the Bison. Ellis for three, and he got it from the side. Walter Ellis with the triple. Bucknell hits another, and a timeout taken. 58-37, a 21-point advantage now for the Bison. Big shot from the side.
Yeah, very unselfish basketball. They have the skill, they can shoot the basketball. They're really opening the floor.
Timeout on the floor. Harry Mora taking this timeout before the timeout would have been called, as he doesn't want this one to slip away much further. A decision there with that media timeout scheduled coming up just a few seconds from now, but you see this lead just drift and drift and drift. And before I drift, we'll take a break. We're back. 21-point advantage, Bucknell in front from Learfield IMG College on MyTV. (58-37). Big run here for Bucknell. Lest we forget at the break, it was 46-35. Fairly sizable run. Bucknell a 12-2 run to open up this second half of play to build that advantage.
Did the same thing in yesterday's ball game. Adam came out and had a 20-3 run and really stretched the game.
At least for Lehigh's sake yesterday, they had started the second half with a 7-0 run before Bucknell.
Right.
Lehigh had taken a 43-43 game, gone up 50-43 before Bucknell rallied back and put it away. Here's Meeks into the lane. Left hand draws the contact. He'll head to the line for a couple. John Meeks, 18 points. Andrew Funk with 15. Walter Ellis is 3 for 3 from three-point range for 9.
What an explosive move by Meeks. You know, faked it. They played him left. He went right down the lane, and nobody stepped up for Lehigh.
First shot is up and good. A chance to hit 20 points with this second free throw. Now, John Meeks has been out of this world since returning from injury. Missed the first 4 games of the year. He's played exclusively against Lehigh this season, but he has become quite the star for Bucknell this year, including 32 points 2 weeks ago today, helping him get the Patriot League Player of the Week.
Let's just say Lehigh sure doesn't want to see him.
Sinclair to Wilson around. Marcus Wilson back in, off to Sinclair, now Betlow. Nick Lynch is back on the bench. Dominic Parolin is back in. Bounce pass to Parolin. Trying to spin around, draws the double team. Marcus Wilson jump stop in the lane. His shot is up, no good. The shot clock expired, but it got the rim, and Bucknell will come away with the basketball.
Been really, again, I've said it, but I've really been impressed with Bucknell in the half-court defense against Lehigh.
Turnover by the Bison. Shot attempt is swatted. It was a struggle for Marcus Wilson to get his hands on the basketball. And as he flipped the shot up, easily knocked aside by Paul Newman. Timeout on the floor. This is Bucknell basketball from Learfield IMG College on MyTV. Geisinger is proud to be the official sports medicine and orthopedics provider of the Bucknell Bison. It's part of our commitment to more than 40 university and high school athletic programs across Pennsylvania in the communities we serve. Schedule an appointment at geisinger.org/sports. Bison basketball also brought to you today by Fairfield. There's a reason why you come here. With every visit, we embrace our customers like family. We're the name you've trusted for over 33 years. Fairfield isn't just any dealership, we're the area's most trusted dealership. Fairfield, for fantastic deals, you're going to love us. 60-37, big advantage here for Bucknell as they have stretched that lead. 17 points at most in the first half. Lehigh got it down within single digits, but Bucknell really pouring it on in the opening 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes of this second half.
Well, every possession is so important when you're trying to climb back into a game when you get down. And, you know, again, kids' efforts there for Lehigh, the firepower maybe, they're really trying to find a way to score. And when you don't score and you open up that floor in Bucknell, those misses are really turning into some open floor jumpers, and we know they can shoot the basketball. So they're making really good decisions. I know Coach Davis has to be pleased about the unselfish play.
The rim, the shooting has gone cold for Lehigh here in the second half. They were 11 of 29 in the first half of play, about 38%. In the second half, just 1 of 10. Yeah. Shot no good, make it 1 of 11. Deuce Turner gets the ball from Andre Screen. Turner flips it off to Andrew Funk. Back out, Turner for 3. No good, rebound, put back, and finally falls for Screen. Tried to throw it home, didn't, and then ended up in. 62-37. Wilson to Parolin. Back to Wilson, loses it. But
that looked like a drive, or that looked like a handoff, didn't it? Coming down the middle of the lane.
And then a fumble, advanced forward by the offensive lineman. See Andre Screen follow up here on this shot. In, out, a little spin, and then back in.
He stayed with it.
First shot is no good. It's Jamiro Wilson at the free throw line. As a coach, for Coach Davis right now, you see Deuce Turner, you see Andre Screen. You've got a couple of freshmen infusing some talent into this program. On one hand, you have to pay respect. You want Meeks out there, Funk out there. You want guys that have been in this program, but you have to salivate at those 5 or 10 minutes every game where you're getting Turner and Screen on the floor to see how they can work together.
Yeah, it's so good for them to get to play because there's nothing like there's nothing like playing. You can practice all you want, you have to play. And when you start to see the ball go through like Screen has and Turn, and I tell you that Lattimore is another young man who has really deserves these minutes. He plays hard, and they have a nice rotation here, and they can go even a little bit deeper than that. So Coach has to be pleased that the ball's going through the net, their confidence, and what I really think they've emphasized is defensively against Lehigh, he's not letting people on the floor that don't defend, and I think that's really been good for them.
Deuce Turner at the foul line will throw a shot up with 8 on the shot clock. Rebound, John Meeks, and he's fouled trying to put it back.
There was a foul on the near side that allowed Bucknell to reset.
Well, what happens here is when you're in a zone like this, there's just no box out responsibility, and John Meeks just comes in from the out. Nobody lays a body on him, and again, that's instinctive. He really got a feel for where the ball was coming and has a nose for it.
Meeks hits the first. 21 now for Meeks, 7 of 11 from the floor. 6 of 6 from the free throw line, making 7 of 7. 64-38, 14 minutes remaining. Lee to Wilson. Off to Betlow, guarded by Deuce Turner. Looking for Parolin. Kick it cross court. Wilson guarded by Lattimore, shakes him out. Now Ben Lee wants a three-pointer and got it. On the left elbow, Ben Lee's first points of the game.
Yeah, I think he started yesterday for them and had a good game for them. Coaches for Lehigh's are just trying to find a combination. This zone is something that, you know, I don't know if they're real comfortable with, but if they can get Bucknell to take those kind of shots after 1 or 2 passes, he's trying to rest his guys a little bit.
Rebound to Jake Betlow after the miss by Lattimore. Now Betlow looking for a long three.
Real long.
Shoots from Milton, no good. Back the other way, here's Deuce Turner. Drives in, leave it outside, Meeks. Fakes the pass, then looks for Lattimore. Ball tipped, Meeks tipped again. Ben Lee comes away with it, check that, it's Wilson up the floor to Taylor, throws it down with the left hand.
Oh.
Back the other way, good cut by Andrew Funk and draws the foul. That's a hard cut. And bringing it back, here's the dunk by Evan Taylor. 64-43 with Funk at the free throw line. 90.5% from the stripe this season. First shot good.
Had the right idea trying to take a charge, but you know, again, you saw there, you're inside that circle. They're going to call it every time. I mean, that's going to be a foul.
Both are good for Andrew Funk, and he'll head to the sideline. Walter Ellis returns. Funk, second leading scorer today, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 for 2 from the line, and 3 of 6 from three-point range. Parolin. Here's the shot for 3. Rebound tipped to Andre Screen. Screen finds Lattimore. Slow it down for Turner. Meeks. Inlet pass. Screen was open for a look. Just a little strong and perhaps too low from John Meeks. Needs to learn he can elevate that pass to the 7-footer.
Throw it up above the rim.
Turnaround jumper is good. Now, Meeks was the one with the assist on the dunk earlier, so won't fault him too much. Not many mistakes made by John Meeks today.
John Meeks.
He's playing in the middle of that 2-3 zone Lehigh has, and every time he touches the ball, he's just going to chop that up.
24 for Meeks now. Here's Taylor with the jumper. His shot's no good. Rebound to Lattimore. Turner to Meeks at the foul line. Trying to get around Parolin. Contact called, and he'll head to the line. Timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. Some substitutions coming up, plus a few foul shots when we return. Bison in the lead, 68-45 from Learfield IMG College on MyTV. There's a reason why you come here. With every visit, we embrace our customers like family. We're the name you've trusted for over 33 years. Fairfield isn't just any dealership, we're the area's most trusted dealership. Fairfield, for fantastic deals, you're gonna love us. 68-45 the lead here. Bucknell looking for its 4th consecutive win coming up in February. Yes, February starts tomorrow. Loyola, American, Lafayette later on in February, and then you get into the Patriot League playoffs. We're back on the air with you during that Lafayette series at the end of the month on February 21st at 6 p.m. It's a tough upcoming schedule. You hope that the games can be played. And I say that because Loyola has struggled, American has struggled to get games in this year. You don't want to go 2 weeks until you play again. You know, having last weekend off because of the COVID issues against Colgate is one thing.
Yeah.
Teams are going to have to overcome that. How they make up those scheduled games, there's some question about where you're going to fit these games in and the schedule based on what the Patriot League has agreed to this year.
Right. Well, there's a question about your body of work, because you could play some different teams or they get canceled. And even in the case where, if you've watched these teams that have been on hiatus for a couple weeks and they come back, they're just not the same team when you haven't played in 2 weeks and a team has been playing. So there's all kinds. But you know what? Everybody's going through it. Everybody's going to have to figure it out. And in this case, Loyola in America didn't play this weekend. I don't know what the plans are for them for next week or where they're at in their protocol. But hopefully the Bison can get games with those two folks.
Meeks hits them both, and he'll head to the bench. Jake Vanderheiden comes in. 11:34 to go. Bucknell's lead is at 25. I know we'll see John Meeks postgame, at least I believe we'll see him postgame. Do you think we see him the rest of this one? Is there a reason to stretch a guy that missed the first 4 games of the year with injury?
Well, there's not, but he's playing so well, and you only get to play once a week, and, you know, who knows if they're even going to play next week, you know, based on what it is. So I have a feeling that he'll get some more minutes here in today, and you want to get him to play.
Of course, the game could dictate that as well, but it's going to take Lehigh making a run. Foul here will send Marcus Wilson to the free throw line. First shot is good.
Well, Bucknell had played without John Meeks and in the first couple ball games, and I'm sure Coach Davis is thinking, okay, here's a great opportunity for the guys that are here getting some confidence and being able to play without the pressure of a tight ball game. So we'll see what kind of decisions they make, particularly Vander and is one of them, and certainly Miles Lattimore is another one.
Ellis, left corner, Vanderheiden couldn't handle the pass, went to a dribble and put it on the side. A turnover by Bucknell, and it's not as if this is a complete bench squad right now. You still have 3 out of the starting lineup in there for Bucknell.
Yeah.
So maybe a run with this, and then perhaps we see Malachi Rhodes again and Deuce Turner and Andre Screen.
Well, and it's not like you're playing on Wednesday after Sunday. You know, these games are next week.
Good stretch by Latimer. Tries to follow with a 3. No. Rebound to Evan Taylor. Taylor 1-on-1 to the hoop with Ellis, and Ellis picks up the foul. Send Evan Taylor to the free throw line. Taylor's had a good couple of weeks. See on the replay here as Ellis just playing coy, running side. Taylor.
Go to the foul line. Taylor's giving him a little spark. He got a couple little step backs, the little lefty. He's taking the ball. He's playing with a lot of confidence.
First shot, no good. Here's Andrew Funk back onto the floor as Ellis steps off. 70-47. 10:39 remaining. Second shot is good. Evan Taylor now 9 points, 3 out of 4 from the line.
We're staying in this 2-3.
Right corner, Vanderheiden for 3. No good. The rebound tipped by Newman. Ben Lee comes away with it. Here's Sinclair. Off to Wilson. Jamiro Wilson drives to the baseline, trying to get around Paul Newman, and a blocking foul called against Newman. That'll be his 3rd, team's 5th, non-shooting foul. So Marcus Wilson to inbound from the baseline. Goes into Ben Lee at the foul line. Lee picks up the dribble, pivots around. Now Wilson to Lee, looking for Marcus Wilson. Lehigh catches a break. Marcus Wilson was gone, but Miles Lattimore was trying to catch up, and it hit him on the arm.
Zig, and he decided to zag.
Down on 10 to shoot. Marcus Wilson does shoot and got it. Hits the 3.
It's the first stroke that hasn't been short today for him on those 3-pointers. That one looked better than they have been. Maybe some of this zone is allowing these kids to get their legs under them a little bit because they've been worn out.
First field goal for Marcus Wilson. He's 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Turnaround jumper by Andrew Funk is no good. 3 there for the Mountain Hawks, and they recover the rebound. Sinclair bounce pass into the paint. Funk couldn't get a handle on it, tries to slap it back to a teammate, instead knocks it out over the side. That'll be an inbound by the scorer's table for Lehigh. See the hustle here for Andrew Funk.
Yeah, Cutting, that's a tough catch. That's a bad pass. They got fortunate there, but good hustle. Here's Meeks back in the ball game. I don't think Coach liked the way things were going without him, and you certainly don't want to give Lehigh any chance to breathe.
Shot for 3 from the corner is good for Taylor, and that 25-point lead is down to 16.
Well, one thing, you know, the Patriot League notoriously, Adam, as long as I've ever been associated with it, it's a league of a lot of competitive kids, and none of these teams ever quit. They're always going to play, and you have to be really ready to finish this to the end with all these teams in the Patriot League. They're proud, they play hard, and with the 3-point line in the clock, you can make up stuff in a hurry.
Inlet to Meeks, guarded by Jamiro Wilson, and 3-second violation. Now, one of the changes last year, and we didn't really get to do a end-of-season look at it, was the movement of the 3-point line. Now a year removed, a year and a couple months removed, did you see it change college basketball much?
No, not at all. And I say that, I would have when it first started if they had moved it like that. These kids are growing up shooting that it's nothing. That's so much a part of the game. If you watch practices of any of these teams, the amount of shooting that goes on, because the three is such an equalizer, they're all shooting it and playing to their strength. And the distance wasn't that much of a move.
There's Meeks in the paint, right hand, takes it to the side, off the glass and in. 28 now for John Meeks. 72-56, 8:25 left. Jamiro Wilson pivots around, tries to get it over top of Newman, does, but the shot's no good. Rebound Bucknell. Xander Rice dribbles through 2 unsuspecting players, leaves it off for Funk. His shot for 3 is a no-go. Back the other way, Evan Taylor. Left hand in, bounce pass to Jalen Sinclair, trying to walk that baseline and stepped on the baseline. Turnover back to the Bison.
We've had opportunities here. How about it, Adam? Last couple possessions down. They haven't scored. I think both teams have been on about a 2-minute drought. But Lehigh had a couple opportunities there to maybe get this thing to 60 and a couple turnovers. They're staying in that 2-3. I thought, Bucknell a little quick with their shot, but they shoot with such confidence that, that's the way they play.
There's Andrew Funk to Rice. Back to Funk to Rice. Taking in, bounce pass Meeks, reverse lay-in, good. 30 in the game for John Meeks. Second time this month he's gone for 30 against Lehigh. Marcus Wilson spins in, kicks it outside. Evan Taylor to answer for 3, no good. Rebound Xander Rice. 7.5 to go. Andrew Funk to Meeks. Looks to Newman, throws it down. Great look this time from John Meeks.
Do not think that zone is working very well. They're just having their way with great passing, great in selfishness. And once they get it into that high post, there's nobody coming up there.
Here's Betlow for 3. Rolls off the rim, hits the glass, comes back to Bucknell. Ellis in the left corner for 3. Splashes it home. Timeout taken by Lehigh. They had cut the deficit down to 16, but it's back up. 79-56. Bucknell in the lead. 6:51 to go. We're back in just a moment. Bucknell basketball from Learfield IMG College on MyTV. We'd like to take a moment to thank all of our local healthcare heroes featured in the Healthcare Heroes Corner here at Soika. And also thanks to those healthcare heroes around the world for being on the front line during this pandemic. We couldn't be doing what we're doing without you, and thank each and every one of you for all of the effort, time, and concern and care that you put into our great community. 79-56, Bucknell has the advantage. Bison come out of this timeout with Meeks, Turner, Screen, Funk, and Ellis on the floor. Lehigh counters with Amaladoon, Betlow, Fenton, Nick Lynch, and Evan Taylor. Limited minutes pretty much all day for Nick Lynch. Just 12 minutes in this game for their leading scorer. He's got the basketball, guarded by Screen, leave it outside, Taylor, and around we go. Betlow to Taylor. Off the pick. Lynch just inside the arc, doesn't shoot, kicks it to Amaladoon. Throws a left-handed shot up, never really had a grip on the ball, and he got fouled, fortunately, along the way. Whether that prevented him from getting the handle on it, but that was really slipping out of his fingertips on the spin.
It looked a little awkward. I think somebody got fooled there.
Here's Amaladoon at the line. First shot is good. Just under 3 points per game, just over 16 minutes per game this season for Jacob Amaladoon from Huntington Beach, California.
Yeah, he wasn't comfortable in that zone down in that middle. Now maybe with Lynch back in, he can. Looks like they've gone back to man.
5 points today for Amaladoon. Here's Meeks, approaching 6 to go. Spins in, left hand finger roll is there. Easy basket for John Meeks. All things considered, once he spins his way through the traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of highway on this man-to-man.
Here's Betlow, guarded by Meeks. Now Lynch. Lehigh in a zone. Now back it out, shot for 3, no. Deuce Turner can't get the rebound, Amaladoon does. Over top of Screen, but the putback is there. Shot was no good, Evan Taylor follows it. Brings it in for 2, 81-59. Andrew Funk draws a double team. Reed Fenton guarding him, now into Screen. Kick it outside, Funk from way downtown, no. Rebound goes to Taylor. Deuce Turner almost stole it back. Betlow off to Lynch, hand it back to Betlow. Swing it around. Amaladoon guarded by Meeks. Now Fenton. Lynch on the baseline, will take a few dribbles, trying to back in Screen. Shot is up and no good, rebound tipped. Screen will come away with it. Here's Turner for 3, a pull-up, got it, just a 2. Had his foot on the line, 83-59.
Showed a little bit of move there off the dribble. That's a strength of his. In transition, he's going to be a handful because he can get the ball to the basket. If he can make those 20-footers consistently, he's going to be tough to play.
Timeout on the floor, 4:27 to go here. It's an 83-59 advantage in favor of Bucknell. This Domino's timeout gives Nathan Davis and Harry Mora a chance to talk about the last couple minutes of this one. You know, John Meeks, when they played 2 weeks ago, it was 11 points and then 32, and he was the Patriot League Player of the Week. Now I'm going to do the math here for you. He had 23 yesterday, and he had 32 again today with a little bit of time left. Now, he may be done for the afternoon at this point with Jake Vanderheiden getting ready to check in, but too early to say Patriot League Player of the Week for John Meeks. I know it depends on who else plays, but it was also a limited slate, so I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, I haven't paid too much attention to that. I have enough time trying to keep up with the games being played, let alone who's scoring. But what I like about John Meeks is, the points obviously jump out at you, Adam, but he brings a sense of confidence and a stability to this Bucknell team. When he's out there, it's like Big Brother, and they can go to him at any time. He can get his own bucket in a lot of different ways, and I think it relaxes the other guys. Very good players. I mean, Funk's a veteran, and he's one of them, but Ellis and Rice and these guys, I think there's just a little more comfortability when John Meeks is on that floor. It happens with the big kids, too.
Fans, remember, Geisinger is proud to be the official sports medicine and orthopedics provider of the Bucknell Bison, part of our commitment to more than 40 university and high school athletic programs across Pennsylvania in the communities that we serve. Schedule an appointment at geisinger.org/sports. Out of this timeout, Bucknell is going to come back with Screen, Turner, Vanderheiden, Lattimore, and Ellis. And we'll see what Lehigh returns to the court. Bucknell was very quick in and out of that timeout. Nathan Davis sat them down, made his substitutions, sent them back out. Harry Moore a little more particular before he sends the crew back onto the floor with a few substitutions.
Well, hey, this young man here at Lehigh, he's done a good job with these guys. I mean, you get put into this position, you got a team on a roll. He's trying to get his guys to play. He's trying to get them to play hard, which they are. And, you know, you come in for your head coach is out. It's an opportunity and one that he's, you know, he's has these kids playing hard, and they're down and they're still after it.
Here's Lattimore to Screen, guarded by Lynch. Good pivot, loses Lynch, gets the basket. Here's Andre Arione onto the floor for the first time against Bucknell this season. Arione has played limited minutes thus far this year. From Bucharest, Romania. Shot's no good. Rebound goes to Lattimore, and get a jump ball called here as Nick Lynch wrapped him up. No foul called. Timeout on the floor. Another substitution when we return. Bucknell, big advantage, 85-59. Bison basketball from Learfield IMG College on MyTV.
You're watching Bucknell Bison basketball on MyTV WQMY.
And for the Bison, number 5, Jordan Seachin.
The teams exchanged three-pointers, 88-62, 2:39 left. Bucknell in front. A couple of changes with Alex Timmerman on the floor. Shot's no good. The other way, Parolin shot no, but a foul call. And first minutes I've seen.
Jordan Seachin is a walk-on from up in the Connecticut area. He's been with the program for a while. I don't know what his status is as far as this year goes, but I know at one point he was injured, and I think you're allowed to play so many games and keep your eligibility. But Jordan has been a big part of this program, and he's been around for a while, knows how to play, and I know he's one of those kids that I know how much the team respects him.
Had a heart condition while he was in high school, a couple of surgeries to alleviate that problem, and getting onto the floor for the first time. Arione with the basketball after the missed shot. Amaladoun looked at the three, then launches it. Rebound back the other way for Bucknell. Malachi Rhodes with the board. A little dribble drive. Just wants that first collegiate basket here this year. Ball loose off the knee of Arione. And it turns it back over to Bucknell with 1:44 left. We looked at the upcoming schedule for Bucknell. A couple of games as they will go out of their division for the next few weeks and play Loyola, play American. We'll see what changes can be made, if changes are made, to make up the Colgate series from last weekend. Then we're back here later on in February, the last weekend of the regular season.
For Lafayette,
that very last game of the regular slate. Bucknell.
I've seen the scores, Adam, from Lafayette or from Loyola and American. American, I think, when they were both able to play, American had handled Lafayette, but I've seen Loyola, and I don't think they have any wins, but they have a good team. I mean, they look like they had some players. Again, you just don't know who's playing.
Steal here by Deuce Turner with the putback, 90-66, now under a minute to play. Want to give you a quick update before we finish up. The Bucknell women's team are 7-0, taking on the Mountain Hawks down at Lehigh, which Mountain Hawks are 6-3. There's 33 seconds left, and that's 63 all. Amaladoun tries to fling one up into the air and draws the foul from Vanderheiden.
Bison foul, number 32, Jacob Vanderheiden.
Remember the last update we gave, it was a 5-point lead for Lehigh in the women's contest. Now even at 63s as Bucknell looks to go to 8-0. Amaladoon's first shot is good. 40.5 seconds remaining. 90-67, Bison in front. Second shot is good. Nice job from the line here today for Jacob Amaladoon. He was at 16% from the line heading into this game.
Those two sure jumped it up.
3 of 4 from the line and has chipped in 9 points off the bench today for the Mountain Hawks. Timmerman loses it. Malachi Rhodes gets it and puts it off the glass and in. 92-68, 20 seconds to go. Arione will bring it down, potentially the last shot, last possession of the game. Arione to the corner. Shot is up and no good. Rebound to Rhodes with 4 seconds to go. Jason Segal with the missed shot. That'll close it out. 92-68. Bucknell gets the victory. The Bison have won 4 straight. Now 4-4 in the Patriot League, 4-2 in the Central Division. Lehigh drops to 3-7 overall and 1-5 within the division. 92-68. We'll take a timeout. Back with our player of the game, or perhaps Coach Davis, when we return on MyTV.
You're watching Bucknell Bison basketball on MyTV WQMY.
(92-68). Bucknell beats Lehigh. That's 4 consecutive wins for the Bison. Coinciding with that, the return of John Meeks to the lineup. 32 points on a Sunday against Lehigh. And John joins us now courtside, our player of the game. I don't see Lehigh on the schedule right now for Bucknell the rest of the way. John, how do you keep this going? This team has been hot since you returned to the lineup. You've got shooters all around you, but 32 points is hard to ignore here today. How do you keep this moving forward to February?
We just got to keep taking it day by day. There's nothing magical about it. We just got to keep working as hard as we can every day to get better every day.
Are you getting ready for start those economics classes again, buddy? Are you ready to go back to school?
I am not ready, but it's a challenge that we have to accept.
You have to embrace. John, tell us a little bit about offensively. You're amazing to watch. You can go outside, inside. Are you looking for as much switching that goes on? Do you purposely look for that, or are you just playing as a feel and as a player that has great instincts, or do you really look for certain matchups and what you want to do?
I think that's more Coach Davis. I'm aware of it. We try to put ourselves in different situations, but I'm just trying to read the game on the court, see where the open man is, see what they're doing. And that's more Coach Davis because he can see that a lot easier than me from the sideline.
Great. You're doing a great job, buddy.
Thank you.
Finally for you, as you look into the month of February, every weekend you've got these home and homes, this back and back, and sometimes the schedule a little different. Not knowing what's going to happen from week to week, how much does that weigh on a player or a program? You know, you look at last week, for example, you're preparing for Colgate, and you see how things are going in the Southern Division. How does that affect, or do you just try to push through, focus on whatever you can?
Oh, it definitely takes a toll, but that's the job of myself and the 3 other seniors to make sure all the younger guys are on page. We got to take it day by day. We can't worry about next week. We're worried about tomorrow. Whatever we have to do tomorrow is what we got to do, and that's what we're focused on.
John, thank you so much for the time. Great game today. Let's keep this thing rolling into February.
Let's do it. Thank you.
It's our guy senior player of the game, John Meeks, 32 points. He was 9 of 9 from the free throw line, 11 of 16 from the floor. Bucknell got a strong game from Andrew Funk, Walter Ellis. 3-point range was once again big for Bucknell. 10 of 25 from 3-point range. And thanks to our friends at the Central PA Food Bank and Duncan, 30 pounds of coffee donated from Duncan and Bucknell to the food bank. 30 pounds of coffee on 10 of 25 shooting. A big day here for the Bison. Coming up, well, they're back at it next weekend. We're back at the tail end of February. We've got Lafayette on February 21st. That's a 6 o'clock tip here at Soika Pavilion. Want to thank the entire crew from MyTV. For the Hall of Famer Pat Flannery, I'm Adam Marco. Bucknell gets the win. That's 4 straight for the Bison. 92-68, Bucknell over Lehigh. This has been Bucknell University basketball from Learfield IMG College on MyTV. Have a great day.
This has been a presentation from Learfield IMG College.